And what the fuck do we got here? Got some fucking geese and shit. Look at, they're all like shit. Ew. What is going on? Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Damn, dude. Oh my god. Fucking gross, man. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Shape of the Clock here. Coming at you from Western New York. Here's my 2005 Kawasaki ZX-10. It's a little different. Put some rim stripes, rim tape on the rims. I think it looks pretty fucking sweet, if you ask me. I also cut this windshield. What happened was my clutch cable broke. I was in traffic, and right here where this comes out, you could see right in there, I saw that starting to fray. I'm not sure what caused it to start to fray, but it did. So it kind of pissed me off, obviously. But I got it fixed, got a new clutch cable. ROC clutch is the greatest thing you could buy. I would definitely recommend it. Cut the windshield because I was bored, and I think that it looks pretty sweet. A lot of people with stunt bikes do it. I honestly don't know why, but I just like the look of it, so I fucking got a cut-off wheel pretty much. Just marked it as straight as I possibly could, which is pretty straight. And yeah, I think it looks pretty fucking mean though. I took the mirrors off too, for whatever reason. I don't even know why. Alright, so what the fuck? Alright, so today I wanted to talk about something interesting that I thought about, and that is I wanted to kind of talk about the differences between driving a motorcycle and driving a car and how they relate to each other, because I believe that motorcycles make people better at driving cars, and that is because on a motorcycle, your awareness has to be fucking ridiculous, you know, just watching out for cars and shit. You gotta learn what to look for, you gotta learn to predict. You gotta learn to predict traffic and shit, predict what other people are gonna do. And I believe that you learn that pretty fucking good. You learn that pretty well by being on a motorcycle, because it's pretty much life or death. If you don't get good at being aware of your surroundings and predicting and watching what people do, and, you know, watching for problem signs and etc., then it could possibly mean death. Anyway, yeah, it could possibly mean life or death. So that's why it's important to learn how to do this shit, you know. But with the amount of riding I do, which is a lot, I would say, I ride a lot, and you learn how to predict shit in other car drivers, and you can translate that while driving a car. You can do the same kind of shit, you know. If you ever watch people ride motorcycles, like motovlogging or whatever, and you see them like moving their head a lot, it's because, you know, obviously they're looking out for their surroundings, you know. Like, I'm constantly looking around at shit. I'm constantly trying to figure out what's going on around me. And, you know, when you've been doing this for a while, you know, it takes you less time to figure stuff out because you've seen it all before, you know what I mean? It's kind of like spelling a word. Like, the first time you spell it, like a big word, you may fucking not really know how to spell it or whatever, but the more you spell it, the easier it is, because, you know, it just comes naturally to you. You know, your brain associates that word with its spelling and whatever, etc. So people are constantly looking around, and it helps alleviate target fixation, which is like tunnel vision. When you're riding around and you start focusing on what's in front of you, like you're supposed to, you're supposed to be looking around what's in front of you and shit. But if you're constantly staring straight ahead and something to the left or right of you happens, you're not going to see it because you're so focused on what's going on in front of you that you can kind of get tunnel vision where you're just looking and you're noticing stuff that's happening right in front of you. And like, let's say someone's coming out of one of these driveways, you're not really focused because you're staring straight ahead. So if you're constantly moving your head, one way or another, then you can fix that problem. And that's what I always do in my car too. Like, I'm always, looking left, right. I'm always looking behind me. Just trying to get a feel of what's around you, like what's around your own personal space. Because let's say I'm looking behind me, there's no one behind me, so this lane is clear, right? And if someone darts out from, my right side, I can quickly move over and get away from the danger. And that's, what I'm always constantly doing. When there's people turning left in front of me, a lot of times when, you're going through intersections or, you have people making a left turn in front of you, so they're coming this way. A lot of times, that's how a lot of motorcyclists get killed, is when people try and turn in front of them. And in my opinion, I've had people that try to do that shit, and a lot of things can cause that. One, first and foremost, obviously, is careless driving. People that aren't paying attention or don't give a fuck about paying attention. Old people, people that are in a hurry, that kind of stuff. But another thing is motorcyclists, what I always like to do is I always like to drive close enough to cars like this where I'm not in a lethal following distance, which is when you're following a car at just the right distance. Like, I would say, let me see, maybe like, I would say just about this far away from that car, people might try and, thread the needle and make a left turn in front of me, because especially if there's like a shitload of cars behind you, because they see all the cars behind them that they're gonna have to wait for, or they could just try and thread the needle right now, and if they do it quick enough, then no one's gonna get hurt, right? Well, that's where I believe a lot of problems happen, because motorcycles, because of how small they are, like width, like how small they are when way ahead of you, people can see a motorcycle is coming. That's not what people don't see. It's how fast that motorcycle is coming towards you. Like, I can see this car coming, and you could judge how fast it's going. It's not going crazy fast, so I could make my left turn or whatever. But motorcyclists have usually one headlight or two headlights, and they're so close together that usually people only see the one headlight coming, and they can't gauge, the headlights splitting. They move further and further apart as the car gets closer. Well, a motorcycle only has like one or two headlights, and they're usually so close together that, a motorcycle can be driving 60 or 70 towards you, and you're only thinking it's only going 30 or 40 just because of, what you're aesthetically seeing coming at you, you know what I mean? That's what I think a lot of people, what happens a lot of the time is, people aren't really paying attention, or they're in a hurry. Like, you can see this motorcycle, it's only one headlight, and it doesn't really get any bigger or anything, you know what I mean? And if you've ever seen a motorcycle in front of a car where his headlight lines up with where that other headlight would be, and it looks like just a car, but it's actually a motorcycle in front of a car, that's dangerous as fuck. That's why a lot of times what you'll learn, like in safety courses, is when you're coming up to an intersection and someone's making a left turn, sometimes it's nice to just kind of weave like this, just in case you're lined up with the guy behind you, you'll be more visible. When people are, seeing you go like this, they're gonna think that you're out of your fucking mind or something, and they're gonna get the fuck out of your way, you know what I mean? And that's another thing, is when people are tailgating you real bad, and I like doing that sometimes too. They because sometimes when people are driving, they're, like I said, they're tunnel vision, they're just looking straight ahead. you know, they're not really paying attention to what's going on around them. So if you do that, it kind of mixes up their sight of view, and they kind of, you know, come back to reality. Like if you guys have ever, you know, been staring at something and you zone out and you're staring at the same fucking thing for like 5 minutes, and then suddenly something happens and you're just like, holy shit, like where the fuck was I? I was just like in a different dimension or something. Well, that, you know, you weaving back and forth like this, it can help them, you know, tune them back into what's going on around them. You know, sometimes people aren't, you know, people don't tailgate just to be dicks all the time. You know, some people do, but other times people are just not paying attention. You know, maybe they just simply, they're too focused on what's going way the hell up in front of them that they can't see you, or they don't realize how close they are, or something like that. You know what I mean? But all this shit, you know, the whole thing about like that lethal following distance that I talk about, it's like if you're at just the right distance where you're maybe like 6 or 7 seconds behind a car, then that might just be the perfect distance where someone thinks they can thread that needle, and that's how you end up getting hit. So when I'm coming up to like an intersection, I look this way and there's no cars there, I'm gonna kind of be worried because this car might try and make a left in front of me. So I'll be ready with the brakes, you know, and I'll slow down. You know, I'm not gonna speed up. But this is perfect when a car's like this. You know, you follow like this to a car, and there's no one gonna be turning in front of you, because if they turn in front of you, you know, they got this car right here, they're not gonna turn in front of this car. You know what I mean? But if you're alone, then they might try and, you know, thread that needle like I was saying. You know, if you have a doubt in your mind that someone may turn in front of you, then you better let off that throttle and at least coast, at least engine brake down a little bit, and get ready to brake. And, you know, I mean fucking brake hard, you know, because the more you can brake before impact, the less that impact is gonna hurt. You know what I mean? If you're braking from 60 mile an hour and you can end up getting to 40 or 30, then you're hitting that car at 30 and not 60, or you know what I mean? But if you just fucking hit them going 60, you know, that's gonna suck. So, and like I said, all this shit I take with me when I get in my car and I'm driving. I always think about that lethal following distance, and I always think about, you know, watching people in front of me and behind me and to the side and all this shit, you know what I mean? All that shit can be translated pretty well. You know, I'm constantly, my head is always on a swivel, and you know, I've never been in an accident. I've been in a couple really close calls where I thought I was gonna get hit, but you know, if you're always assuming that people are gonna try and turn out in front of you, then you know you're always ahead of the curve, and you can always be ready to brake. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Go ahead and comment and let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any anything that you guys, you know, use while you're riding that keeps you safe, go ahead and let us know. Let me know so I can learn a thing or two, you know what I mean? But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead and leave a comment and subscribe for some more videos. And until next time, peace out.